Testing. 1, 2, 3. Let's just go. Let's just do it. It's fine.
Let's just go.
Man.
Yeah.
So this is.
Hi, I'm Iain. He's Olly.
I didn't. When I said let's go, I didn't mean like right away.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Okay, go.
Can we get this started with clarifiers?
Yeah, go.
Hi, I'm Iain. He's Olly.
Hi.
We're both guys. We're chatting about film. It's the Guys on Film podcast.
It's the end of the decade as we know it.
Shit, have you done research on the entire decade of movies?
No. We might do that. Maybe we'll do that next. That's the next thing we'll do.
Oh, man, I don't know if I've got time.
No, I've just done, the last 12 months. It's our annual look back of the year.
It's our look ahead to a look behind of the previous year.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Great. Yeah, maybe in January we'll do a look back to the previous 10 years. Or maybe I'll be washing my hair.
This is our second stab at having a go at recording this, because I was actually down in your locale, in your house, in fact, in your middle room, at your table, ready to record, and you got like these mad sniffles, which rendered the recording impossible.
Yeah, no.
Clarify?
What you're calling the sniffles ended up being a 2-day cold. What? Well, 1 day really. It was better by the evening of the following day.
Okay.
So, was it a cold or was it allergies? Because you did initially try and blame me.
I tried to finger the blame on you.
Yeah, your first thing was to blame me for your illness.
I was putting 1 and 1 together and coming out with 12.
Okay.
Or putting 1 and 1 together and coming out with 5 cats as the solution.
And what makes you think that it was a cold?
Well, because all the rest of it just kept going for a day, and then I got a cough, and all the rest of what you'd expect with a cold. All
the classic signs of a cold.
Yeah, despite the fact you were lousy with cat hair, it didn't constitute enough to make me have allergies. Yeah. Anyway, this time round I'm healthy. What about you?
I'm pretty healthy. I
No, I wasn't asking you, I was asking the listeners.
Okay, fine. So what else have we got coming up?
Are you healthy, Ollie?
Yeah, at the moment.
Okay, we'll get into how we're actually doing in life scores, right?
Sure.
It's been such a long time since we've done this. Some people might not know the drill anymore.
Okay.
What's coming up?
So I've got a Seggy One, and you don't actually know what this Seggy One is.
Uh-oh.
So this Seggy One is called none, mild, moderate, or severe.
Okay.
Have you got any idea what that might be?
You do too.
You're close. It's profanity in the films of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and in fact, this is quite strange. So my daughter, who's 14, refers to him as Dwayne Johnson. She's never once called him The Rock.
Oh, millennials.
So do you know what I mean? What it is why I'm mentioning it is because she was born at a date where, she's completely skipped knowing him as The Rock.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah, because in films now he's not. They don't have to bill him as The Rock. When I'm Walking Tall, I'm fairly certain that they weren't just going to let him be called Dwayne Johnson, right?
I think Vince McMahon got an executive producer credit in that because of his involvement in bartering and being the agent in the deal. So yeah, it probably was part of it.
But nowadays he's just Dwayne Johnson.
He does. Some films still list him with the alias in there, but anyway, it's all
water under the bridge.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then we're doing our.
You could sense that I was getting onto none of this matters.
Guys on film. Yeah, but guys, we'll talk about film. It's the Guys on Film podcast for real. You know what guys talk about film. It's the Guys on Film podcast for real.
Okay, let's get on with Seggy One.
We're already in it. That's the beauty of this sort of seamless transition. We are already in Seggy One. So
I wish you'd go along with it.
So this one's called None, Mild, Moderate, or Severe. So I'm going to give you the title of a popular or not so popular Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson film, and you're going to tell me whether you think on IMDb in the Parents Guide this has been listed as none, mild, moderate, or severe on the profanity-ometer. How do you feel about that?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel good.
Okay, so we're going to go jump 1 year back, and we're going to go to Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle.
Jumanji?
Is it none, mild, moderate, or severe? I'm going to have to press you for an answer. It shouldn't be this hard.
Mild?
Correct. In Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, I'm going to give you the breakdown. We've got one use of bitch, which I don't like that word because it seems to be the one that just people throw out there and use.
It's used in a throwaway in a
throwaway way, and I don't like it. Ian. Minor profanities only, including shit, ass, and damn, which are used infrequently. One use of penises. I can't remember that. Punch them in the penises. No, is that you're a bunch of penises?
Not sure. I can't remember. It's quite a while since I watched that. Yeah.
So we've got hell, ass, badass, jackass are choice expressions used in this film, and quite frequently. More than one use of Jesus, and several uses of God, and oh my God.
By the end of this segment, what will the rating of this podcast be?
Well, it's going to have to, I think, probably severe. I'd like to keep it to none, but we've already failed that, so let's try for mild and see where we go.
Will you be bleeping every one of these?
No, I will not. Moana.
What a dick. Sorry, carry on.
So, Moana, yeah.
None.
Oh, correct. But in one scene, Maui says screwed up while talking to Moana. One incomplete use of son of a bitch. So it's incomplete. Incomplete.
Okay.
So, how do you feel about that?
Screwed up.
Yeah. You've really screwed up. I mean, if a child said that, how would you feel?
I don't know if it'd be the language. It would more be like the sort of the.
Ian, you've really screwed up with that pick and mix.
Well, I'm the one paying for it, you little shit.
Your penises.
No, I don't know. What's screwed up though in that term? What's the etymology of that? Is screwing got anything to do with having sex, or is it just having a screw loose?
No, well, I think it's probably like, imagine if you've like started drawing a picture and then you've got it wrong, so you've got to screw that bit of paper up.
But that's no, maybe yeah.
So anyway, the next one I've got here, Mummy Return, which is obviously The Mummy Returns.
The Mummy Return.
Yeah. Is this so? Bear in mind, it's a teen horror. Is it non, mild, moderate, or severe? The Mummy Returns.
It's definitely more than none.
It is more than none.
Is it higher or lower than mild or severe?
I can't tell you. This is. I can't give you any hints. And you're really screwing this one up.
I have a feeling that you were trying to lead me towards going higher on this. But it could be mild because it's still like a big family summer movie. I'm going to go higher than mild though. I'm going to go moderate.
Ian, it's mild.
Oh fuck!
The word bastard is said, but interrupted. Do you reckon we could do that now?
Bastard!
No.
I almost got all the way through it.
The word arse is said.
Arse.
Yeah, and some
Not
religious...
ass. Arse.
No, arse. Yeah. But
Arse.
there's quite a
John
bit set
Hannah?
in London, isn't there? Yeah.
John Hannah?
Yeah,
John
there's a
Hannah?
bit set in London, isn't there? And some religious profanities. But they're not listed, so...
Okay, I actually called out what you were trying to do to me in terms of leading me, and then I still fell for it. So
yeah, so that's one to me.
So that's one for me to think about on a longer term sort of trajectory.
Okay, moving on. We've got because we've got a few to go. We've got Doom, the video game adaptation of the popular Twitch-based FPS.
Twitch-based, fucking hell. Yes.
Well, it is. You've got to twitch that mouse in the right direction to shoot the demons.
It's just like, is that not a relatively recent turn of phrase?
Like a Twitch shooter.
Yeah.
I think it perfectly describes a certain type of shooter. You know, rather than your more measured, tactical shooters. Doom and Quake and stuff are all about, Twitch shooting. So, Ian, I'm fine with it.
Oliver, just on a very quick side note, I don't like that term, but what I did realise was that there was an example of that on a recent testing thing I was doing when I was in Germany, and apparently the alternate term for it is nervous in the German language. It's a nervous shooter.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess that's the same sort of thing.
But anyway, Doom. It's got Dexter Fletcher.
None, mild, moderate, or severe.
None, mild, moderate, or severe. It seems like, well, the game is more X-rated, right? Or
Yeah.
R-rated or whatever, right? I don't think the movie was all that bad. Moderate?
You're wrong. It's severe.
Shit.
Can you watch your language? There's 25 F words and its derivatives. 2 sexual references. 1 implies paedophilia. 37 scatological terms. 3 anatomical terms. 17 mild obscenities. 1 derogatory term for the physically challenged. 9 religious profanities. And 12 religious exclamations and a partridge in a pear tree.
These are all very nice to know, but I'd rather know the details in a list rather than
I can't.
Talking around.
We're
the
reliant.
point.
You know how IMDb works, and at the moment you're 2-0, 2 or 2-2, 2 all, 2 to me, 2 to the game, 2 to you.
The game.
Got there in the end. Okay.
Okay, fine.
Moving on. The game plan.
What's that? I forget.
It's like a football coach to like
a
little league.
I didn't see this one. I'm going to go for mild.
Correct, mild. Oh my goodness. Oh my god, twice. 1 mild anatomical term, and they're put in brackets, but. So I don't know why they didn't just,
say but.
But anyway. And there's some name calling in it. Stupid, mean, and idiot. If you were to be called stupid, mean, or idiot, which one would you prefer to be called?
Mean.
If someone really meant it as well. Like they're angry with you and they go stupid or mean or idiot. Which one would you prefer? Which one would hurt the least?
Probably mean, actually.
Yeah, because you can probably change that, can't you?
What do you mean change it?
Well, you can change your ways.
Oh, right. Yeah, like you can't teach stupid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right, moving on. The Tooth Fairy.
Mild?
You're not going for none? Tooth Fairy? You still think?
It's Disney.
No, what I mean,
yes.
look, you're correct. It is mild, but I'm just surprised you didn't go for none. But it is correct. And it's got such words like dang fool, old man, hell, and Derek says, oh bullshit, but the shit part is cut off. Story of his life.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, why were you surprised that I got that one right?
Well, purely because you had that backtrack where you were like, "Oh, it's Disney."
No, I think that one's. I think I would imagine the nanny was also
edge.
mild as well.
Got a slight edge to it.
Yeah, minor Disney-based edge. It would make it onto Disney Plus.
Something for the dads, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. We've got two more left. Rampage, the other video game adaptation that he's done.
Moderate?
Correct, moderate. But it does actually say here in the description, extremely strong language, especially for a PG-13. George the gorilla performs crude hand gestures, middle finger, and he does that twice as jokes. Many uses of ass, bitch, bullshit, go to hell, shit on its own, damn, asshole, goddamn, bastard, and an incomplete motherfucker.
An incomplete motherfucker?
No, like, it's cut off.
Oh, I see.
Just like all of his films. So I think what we're learning from this is that
Dwayne
when
has
you
learned from the book of Bruce Willis in Die Hard 4, where yippee-ki-yay, mother, cut.
Shoot the gun. Yeah.
Is the way to go.
Right.
Yeah.
And the final one, Hobbs and Shaw, this year's Fast and the Furious spin-off.
I would say moderate to severe.
It's not a steak.
Severe?
Moderate.
Damn it.
That is one of the words they use, as well as shit, ass, asshole, dick, and all of their various forms are used. 3 uses of fuck. 1 use of fucking by both Hobbs and Shaw simultaneously, where they say no fucking way at the same time.
Can you bleep this entire section? It will be hilarious.
1 gag involving the name Mike Oxmall. Oh, it sounds like Mike Oxmall. And the use of the word anus in the form of a funny name, Hugh Janus.
Wow. Great. Hugh Janus. Sounds like a hoot.
It does. It really does. Fantastic. Well, it's fantastic what Hollywood can do these days. Ian, I think you did really well. I think you just scraped him with a win there.
We'll leave the listeners to do the maths.
You mother...
Live score. How are you? Live score.
I'm fine, thank you.
Live score. Out of 10. Live score.
Probably like a 4.
Life scores.
Yeah. Okay, Ian, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
What did you? I just took a swig of tea then.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So I'm good.
Shall I go for my life score first, Ollie?
Yeah, please. That's why I asked you first.
So I think everything's gravy.
That's not the catchphrase.
What do you mean the catchphrase?
Well, that for the sugary cereal. They're gravy. It's not it.
I said I think everything's gravy.
Still not the catchphrase.
Tony the Tiger doesn't say, I think they're great. Oh,
Doesn't endorse gravy. So how are you?
Bisto. I'm good, actually. I was thinking, is this to cover all the time intervening since our last podcast, or is it just right now today?
Just right now.
I think it's right now today.
Yeah.
So, what's going on? Well, I'm officially going to get a dog.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I heard about this. You told me.
I've become a pet man, Ollie.
When are you getting the dog? And tell me the breed.
I'm going to get the dog at Christmas and for Christmas.
Oh, so does that mean it's not going to even last a week before you're bored of it?
Don't know. We'll see what happens. No, we're going to get the dog in 2 weeks' time.
Okay.
It's going to be Dachshund.
Okay.
Or
will it
sausage dog.
Ian, will it be dashing through the snow?
It might very well be, although it's not going to come to Scotland with me because that's a little bit far for now.
I think the dog would be fine to go to Scotland.
Listen, Ollie, it's for the best.
I mean, tell me why you're not going to take your dog to Scotland.
It's just going to be a little bit on the young side to do a 9-hour trip. It is going to go to the Midlands though, which is like a sort of 2-hour trip, which is a little bit easier when they're doing like peas and stuff.
Okay.
Once it's a little bit older, we'll do a Scotland trip.
Take it to Scotland. Yeah. Okay.
That's the plan. But yeah, pretty excited about that.
Have you chosen a name yet?
Ollie, guess what's in contention for the top names?
Dave.
No.
Lemmy.
Maybe.
And The Rock.
Shit, Dwayne hasn't come into our list yet. Perfect.
Dwayne's such a good name for a dog.
Adding to the list now. So the current top contenders are Arnold.
Uh-huh.
How do you feel about that?
Obvious choice.
Too obvious?
I mean, it's okay because I suppose a Dachshund is maybe, you could imagine it's Austrian.
Also, when I was reading the book that we've got on the breed, the description from like a show dog point of view is that the front of the body should be muscular and topped.
What about Jean-Claude?
Just
give it like a double barreler.
Jean-Claude, yeah, that's now on the list as well.
Okay.
Dolph.
Is Dolph on the list?
No. Lundy.
Okay. Yeah.
Sylvester.
Yeah. Okay.
God, the list is just increasing as we go here. No, the top ones I think really are like Arnold, Douglas. I really like the idea of having a very bland human name like Stephen or Darren.
Yeah. I hope our friend Darren's not listening.
Darren. Sorry. Darren Dog is not quite right though, as far as my other half's concerned. So, yeah. So it's probably going to be something like Arnold, so it can be abbreviated to Arnie.
Yeah, because you've got to have an E at the end of the dog's name, so when you call it, it knows.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, for example.
Exactly.
Great example. Yeah. So other than that, not an awful lot going on. The company have got a screening of Star Wars in our sites on the 19th. I think we're going to go and see it. So
and how are you feeling
that's all
about
booked
that
up. Shall we talk about that at the end? Shall we talk about our
Sure.
Because we're going to go through everything we've seen so far in 2019, and then like I think doing a tiny bit on what's left that might just like kind of change everything before the end of the year. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do that. So that's kind of it. Did a little trip to meet the dog at the weekend, and that was nice.
Did you like it, and did it like you?
Yeah, it came over to me and sat under me, and then like kind of
coward, wet itself.
No, sat underneath the chair that I was at, and then just was quite comfortable being picked up and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Meanwhile, the dog's mother was running around.
Stay away from my child.
No, it's just really interested in. It's more interested in just getting like good pats on the belly and stuff.
Okay.
Which is cool. The mother was happy. Or
but does
should
the mother
I say,
know
bitch?
That you're taking its child away?
By the way, when I just said bitch, it wasn't throwaway; it was descriptive.
I know. But how does the mother feel about you taking its child away?
Take my child away. I'm not sure, Oliver. Some of the litter are actually staying with the breeders, I think. A couple of them. The reason I brought the mum dog up was just because she's very nipply body at the moment. Just thought I'd paint that visual. How's that?
I mean, natural.
Oliver, how's your life?
It's pretty good, Ian. So I put a floor down this weekend, like a wooden laminate floor. I did it
It's
all.
like
Looks really
a wooden
good.
laminate
But
floor.
listen, you know the little edging around the, you can get these little sort of edges that go along the skirting board, cover up the gaps.
Yeah.
Can't figure it out. Can't figure out how to put them down. I can't figure out how to cut the angles. I'm going to have to get a man in to do it. I could lay the whole floor by myself with nothing but just music and a jigsaw.
It's almost like you anticipated this coming up before you started making all your Instagram stories of how things could go wrong.
But I thought, you know
hilarious
what?
consequences.
Yeah, but the thing is, right, all the YouTube videos that I've watched, they're just like, okay, they go into lots of detail about how to, measure and cut, and you've got to stagger everything, you've got to have an expansion gap, you've got to do all these bits and bobs. And then they're just like, and then just put the beading around the edges and you're done. And it's just like, and now the rest of it is just plain sailing. And it's just like, how? I don't get it, so I'm going to have to get someone else to do it.
Have you searched how to put floor beading down rather than just flooring down?
I have, and they you've got to cut it at like a 45-degree angle, and then just kind of push them together. But it's a puzzle that I can't work out. So sometimes in life, you just have to say, I can't do this. I've got to get a man in. So
just call a man and be done with it.
So that's me. So pretty good. And
you know what you've definitely got, Ollie? An expansion gap.
I've got an expansion gap. That is what I've got, and it's a good one as well. I've got down here asking about the wrestling, but we spoke about that in depth, and actually, it wasn't that interesting.
I forget.
I mean, it was
which
interesting to me,
wrestling-
but I don't think it was. Let me rephrase that. It was interesting to talk about it with you, but it's such a serious subject that it's not interesting for the podcast. So I've got another question for you.
Okay, just explain to a listener what that means, because I barely know what part of the wrestling you were talking about.
Well, you've been tweeting primarily about AEW wrestling, and you went into detail explaining it. It sounds great. Fine, I'm a fan of that. I understand why you like it. I understand why you tweet about it. But like I say, there wasn't many laughs during that conversation. Not as many as I expected there to be. So I've got another question for you. May I ask you the other question?
Yeah, I just thought before getting onto that, you should explain the part that other people wouldn't have known about. But yes, let's go.
Have you ever worn a hooded top, like a hoodie, at work in a professional work environment?
Yes. Why?
Have you ever put the hood up, deployed the hood in a professional work environment, and walked around with your hood up?
Not for any prolonged period of time. Maybe for about 5 seconds, and then sort of pulled it back.
Is that like when you're about to go and you're just out the door, but you've never actively walked around the corridors or sat at your desk or gone to the urinal?
Sometimes you lift it up so that you can put your jacket on over the top of the hoodie without getting the hood caught. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so have you got an opinion on people who would deploy their hoodie for prolonged periods of the day in a professional environment?
Hoodie deployed. Yeah, I'd ask them to go home. I'd ask them to go home, and if they asked why,
and change.
Yeah, that's a HR citation waiting to happen.
Okay.
Yes, Ian. I think we'd like to talk to you about you asking an employee to go home and get changed.
They could have just undeployed their hood.
No, I don't.
Does
know
it
what
annoy?
I'd really
I mean,
do.
does it annoy you? Is it a gripe of yours? If you
Ollie,
saw it, what would you think?
We've been dancing around this point for almost 3 minutes now. What do you think about it? And
Don't
why
like it.
are you bringing it up?
Don't like it.
Okay, it feels like you got more on your mind about
I
this
haven't.
than-
No. I've just seen it a few times in various professional environments, and I'm just not a fan.
Do you think the people that do this think it makes them cool?
I don't know. Like, I went into the Forbidden Planet comic book emporium, and there was a guy in there, and he had his hood up, like stacking the shelves and doing stuff. And I just thought, I don't want to. I can't approach you. You're
You don't even
unapproachable.
work there, but you walk over and say, "Sorry, man, I'm going to have to send you home."
Yeah. Yeah.
Also,
so
just before you go, any chance of getting me a 2-foot Terminator figure, please?
yeah.
Where
Yeah,
have you
so I
got
mean,
a
that
Forbidden
was it
Planet
really.
near you, Ollie?
I'm just not keen. I think, you shouldn't have a hood up in the workplace.
Forbidden Planet. They should call it Forbidden Clothing.
Because the hair's covered. But yeah, Ian, I'm fine. I think I'm like a solid 8 out of 10 at the moment
Great. I would say I'm an 8.5,
because of the dog.
just to be 0.5 better than you.
You are getting a new dog, so you can have it. Should we move on to the deep dive?
Correct. Yes, we should. Let's do it.
I think I'll probably double check that.
The way that I've done this deep dive is that I've chosen some films. I've got yeah, meh, and no. Yeah being
Okay.
films that I liked, of 3 of them. Meh being ones that, meh, they're alright, they're okay.
Indifferent towards.
Indifferent, but not bad. But just, you're not going to get me watching them again or requesting a sequel. No, as in no, I don't like it. Okay?
I can conform to that structure. I can make that work. I have a list that was top 3, bottom 3, haven't seen. So yeah, let's just do that. My first, what are we calling them? Yeah, meh?
Yes.
No. Yeah,
Yeah.
meh, and no. My first is El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie.
Okay, interesting choice. I think we spoke about this one, but briefly tell me why.
Shall I give you an official synopsis?
Yeah, if you want, yeah.
A sequel of sorts to Breaking Bad, following Jesse Pinkman after the events captured in the finale of Breaking Bad. Jesse is now on the run as a massive police manhunt for him is in operation.
And tell me about it, because I quite liked it as well, and I put it on thinking, I've heard a few people going, it's a bit pointless, but I ended up really liking it anyway. Wow! Sorry, Mandy's just come in the room. She's trying to be quiet, but she's being very quiet.
Mandy.
Mandy watched El Camino as well.
What are her thoughts?
What are your thoughts? No, you didn't think that.
It was okay, but
Okay, confirmed.
wouldn't watch it again.
It was okay, but she wouldn't watch it again.
Okay.
So there you go. So what was your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts and now my full thoughts are just basically that I enjoyed it. I always thought Breaking Bad ranked up there with my top television shows.
Okay.
Obviously, it's been quite a long time since it was on television or otherwise illegal streams. I don't think that diminished it. I did have to go back prior to watching the film and watch the last couple of episodes of the last series just to kind of warm myself
Why didn't you
up.
just watch a YouTube recap?
I'm more dedicated than that. And
Could've saved
obviously
yourself a
have
lot
a
of time.
surplus of time on my hands. Well, here's another great example of my bad time management. When I watched the original Breaking Bad, I would watch each series almost in full in a week, and then wait a year, and then when the new one would come out, I'd re-watch the previous series right before the new one because I'd forgotten what had happened in it. I then did this for every series that came out, but with every new series that came out, I had more previous series to watch to catch up. Life's hard. I enjoyed it. I thought what it did with the story to kind of close it off was great. I think there will be people, the same sort of people who are still debating the Sopranos ending right now, who will kind of say, oh, it would have been better to just leave it and not complete it and kind of leave it as a sort of unknown exactly what happened afterwards. But I kind of I think they did a very good job at taking it in places that fans would have liked it to go, and I think this has got enough stuff for super fanboys of Breaking Bad to get into. I think you kind of see a nice trajectory for the Jesse Pinkman character, and you see enough of Walt. And also, finally, we spoke about this in person, but there's some nice... there's like a sort of increased complexity added to the time-lapse stuff that they used to do most episodes. So
yeah,
used to be that you'd get these sort of long shots of... Or actually, pretty quick shots, 10, 15 seconds, but they would be filmed over a long period of time and time-lapse while the camera moves around a petrol station, for example. So you see like the colours of night and day change. Those were always like quite atmospheric and cool. In this, they do the same sort of thing, but from above this sort of 5-room layout of a building as Jesse kind of strips it apart trying to find some hidden money.
Like a sort of 2D shooter.
Yeah. And I thought that was a cool shot for kind of increasing the stakes on a time lapse. So good stuff, Vince Gilligan plus cinematographers.
Okay. Shall I move on to mine now? Because we've only got like
5 seconds left.
5 minutes left in the positive zone.
Okay.
So I'm going to quickly move
in the area.
So 2 of my favourite films of the year were actually children's films. Wow. And you're going to sigh heavily, but for some reason I really connected with Aladdin, the Will Smith one. And I mean, I know it's cheesy and I know it's terrible and it gets a lot of abuse online, but you know what? I like it. I think it's good. It's colourful. You know, it's got good vibes. I like the vibe of it all. I just like it.
I'm not sure what I can add because I've only really seen the abuse that it's had online.
And so the other one is Detective Pikachu. So I went to see this with yeah, it's got him in it. Yep. You've been waiting to do that for weeks.
Months.
So it's months. So yeah, that we went to see that one with the whole family and friends, and yeah, we all really enjoyed it. It was a bit daft, but it was really good. And actually, that guy, Ryan Reynolds, he actually, had a good bit in it as well. It was very heartwarming.
Okay. Did he defy your expectations?
Well, I mean, it's a bit of a spoiler, but I didn't expect him to be physically in it, and he was. He was in it as an actor as well as the voice of Pikachu, in a nice way, and it was look, feel good. Not all films have to be
feel bad,
depressing and feel bad. That's what I keep telling you. And 2 of my favourite films this year were feel good films.
The feel bad movie of Oscar season.
So quickly plough through your other yeses.
We've
got 3 minutes. We got 3 minutes. That was 2 minutes to get through 2. And you got 3.
Okay, well, very quickly then. I've watched The Joker very recently, and I liked it.
Same. No, that's my third yes. So
I think
we're saving time.
I'm in the camp of I enjoyed that. I know there are a lot of people who have issues with the glorification of sort of far right, kill people to get your way sort of extremism sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. I guess my only gripe with it is I felt kind of contrary to the red letter media reviews of it. I kind of felt like it felt interesting up until the point where it became too comic book. I don't know if you've read much Frank Miller Batman stuff, but there's like Day One and... Sorry? None.
I've read 0.
Okay, well, there's a few different comics that he's written where there's lots of like on TV stuff. So there's like news presenters and stuff like that. So the media plays a big part in the telling of the story. And I think the final scenes, spoiler alert, kind of match up quite closely to the world that is painted in those books, in those graphic novels. Literally painted. But compared to the rest of the film, it was like a sudden, unrealistic moment that was a little bit over the top and
Do you
more
think
like
I
something from
I was genuinely taken aback, and I think that's the one thing that I took from it. It was quite a sort of arty film in many ways, but for me, I haven't seen a film in a long time that, you know, I thought genuinely sort of made me feel uncomfortable, and it genuinely made me feel uncomfortable at least 3 or 4 times.
discomfort meter off the Richter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the discomfort at the start, and well, not the start. I would say in the first 2 acts I think it's great character building sort of stuff. I think at the end there are just too many things in the sort of final set piece where reality would have struck, and like, I guess here's my thing. It's a similar sort of gripe that people had with the more recent Star Wars film, where people start going, in sci-fi that just doesn't make sense.
Well, that's what you were like.
Yeah, I know. But the problem
trying
is
to deflect that off to generic people.
No, I know. Well, you can go back and have a listen to that if you like. But the oh, no, don't. But the problem is when you put it all in the same movie, where there's like lots of realism and grittiness for like almost 2 hours, and then in the last section, like realism is kind of lifted because reasons. It makes it hard to keep the what's the word when you fuck.
That's not the word.
No, not all fuck.
The worst thing about it is that it's connected to some kind of comic book universe, because I really just can't envisage a world where you've got his character as he is, and then you've got a guy flying around in a batwing and throwing a batarang at someone with bat spray, and it kind of doesn't feel like it's in the same universe, and it's supposed to be like an origin thing, and I can't imagine, like, the moment the batarangs start flying around and, you know, you've all that kind of stuff, I don't think you could believe it anymore. It would detract from it. So I think my main gripe with it is that it was set in that universe, and it would have been better as not him. But
there are loads of films like that though that nobody goes to see that are like that. That's, true. Like, by its very nature, it couldn't really exist without being attached to it. Like, it wouldn't have made the crazy money that it made. I think it's struck just the right balance though from a business point of view, because they've got the sort of smart nerds interested, and then they've actually been able to deliver something that didn't disappoint. For a DC film, that's really good, because
they've made a pretty penny.
They made a lot of money from getting people through the door on the basis of sort of Batman comics and knowledge of the IP and stuff like that, and then it actually delivered as well and got loads of glowing reviews. So
okay, and have you got a final positive one?
No, we can kind of skip on. Let's just move on. I think we'll spend.
These are like the middle ground.
Yeah.
So I've got the Terminator film, The Dark Fate.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
I have not.
I didn't hate it, but also I didn't like it. It was a real meh film. I mean, I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's completely pointless. And I've read a lot about James Cameron being a right shit, just being horrible, shit. Just like, you know, believing in his own ideas all the time, not listening to anyone.
Okay. Sometimes listening to other people's a problem, though.
So I've got some reviews. I'm just going to read a couple out to you. So this one just says, "We did this." 3 out of 10. When we watch it, when we pay a ticket, we encourage these people to keep throwing garbage at us. We need to stop. And I feel that you've made a stand by not paying for a ticket.
I thought about it just as you were talking there, and I thought back to when Genesis came out, and I was like, let's go day one. And I think the reason I've still not seen it, and it's probably out of most of the cinemas by now, is just probably on the basis of the Genesis problem. It wasn't great. It was the third of the Terminator films that wasn't great in a row. I, strangely enough, kind of think Salvation stands out amongst the things after 2 as one that was alright. I would rewatch Salvation occasionally.
Okay.
But the rest are all garbage.
And I've just got one final review, and it's pretty scathing, so, brace yourself. This movie is a crime, so this person wants the creators to, do some serious time. This Terminator film is so bad that it's like being psychologically tortured. I wanted this movie to end immediately. It got some off the worst acting and hilariously bad script I have ever listened to. A 3-year-old could have made better lines than this diarrhea. This needs to stop. These Terminator movies are only made to make a buck. Arnold and Hamilton only cares about money. It saddens me that big Hollywood stars just chooses money over quality and just pisses over their own legacy. F Dark Fate.
Wow.
Yeah.
I quite liked the use of Arnie's first name and Linda Hamilton's second. That was a real bonus in that review.
Yeah. It's not very consistent, is it, really?
For those that have not got any idea about Terminator Dark Fate, the official synopsis was... The official synopsis! An augmented human and Sarah Connor must stop an advanced liquid Terminator from hunting down a young girl whose fate is critical to the human race. Seem familiar?
It gets worse than that. Ian, give me one of your meh.
One of my meh was... I didn't have great expectations because I didn't even know it was coming out until very late on, but there was a movie called Memory, The Story of Aliens.
Okay.
Now, I went to cinema to see this at Prince Charles Cinema, and I thought it was... the way it was advertised was going to be like a whole story that you didn't realise was part of the development of Alien, and actually, it wasn't. They'd put some weird... film of their own together at the start of it that sort of vaguely resided in a sort of Giger-esque universe, but that lasted all of 10 minutes, and then after that it was like a rehash of a documentary that really has all been covered mostly in the special features of the DVDs that many people have already. So
you went to the cinema to see a DVD extra?
It's not literally the same footage, and it's lots of different people giving their insights and stuff, but there was not an awful lot of new stuff. So that's why it's a meh. It was worth the ticket price. I'm glad I went to see it, but there's no reason to look at it again.
The description, even your description of it, Ian, was pretty meh. I mean...
Do you want the official synopsis so that people know exactly what I'm talking about?
Sorry, I got something in my throat and I don't think it's an alien. Can I just cough it out? I think it might have gone. Let's not have the official synopsis.
Okay.
Yeah, don't want it.
What's your first meh?
Now, I'm not doing this to be controversial because I had really high hopes. I liked the trailers. I liked the guy's previous film. I had a real meh time with the film Us.
Okay.
Official synopsis.
The official synopsis!
A family's serene beach vacation turns to chaos when their doppelgangers appear and begin to terrorise them. I went in excited because Get Out, I think if you go back to one of our previous year roundups, it was one of my favourite films, if not my favourite film of the year. So, I went in with high hopes. But what was it I didn't like about it? I think it was just everything was symbolism. The whole film was just forcing so much symbolism all the time that it was okay, yeah, I get it. It's not that good a symbolism. It's obvious. Like, symbolism, I think, is good when you sort of have to search for it, or if like you kind of go, oh yeah, that was that, but when it's so plainly obvious that it fills the center of the frame, it's not symbolism anymore. It's just hitting you over the head with more mechanics and, you know, and hitting something home. And I just got really irritated with that, and how silly the story was and how improbable it was. I know Get Out was also really improbable, but the world sort of felt a little bit more realistic and a little bit more horror. It wasn't so much of a stretch of the imagination, if you can excuse the pun. But Us, it required a massive leap to think that all these people could live underground and be doppelgangers for the people above, and you'd have enough space to do all this, and
a leap that you were just not willing to make.
And just frustrating use of symbolism that just wouldn't allow the story to be told, I think.
When subtext becomes context.
Exactly. But, you know, I mean, it looked nice, and there was some good bits, but overall, I left deflated, because I wanted to go straight on Twitter and say, I really like that film. But someone who didn't like it, and this is like a 1-star review on IMDb, and it says, "Please, I'm begging you, do not waste 2 hours and $6 to $10 on a ticket to see this. Total garbage. I'm ashamed of myself for sitting through the whole thing. I just wanted to cry. Horrible." I'm not feeling like that, but, you know, that's too much. I'm just saying it was okay. It was, you know, my daughter's seen it. She's 14, and she said it was really good, and she doesn't understand why I didn't like it as much as she did. She thought it was great. Wow. So there we go. Us.
So in a way, this is your way of winning the argument by putting it down in recorded form, where your daughter does not have any chance to return her opinion.
Well, I'm just saying she really liked it. She thought it was great. She loved it.
Okay, cool.
She shouldn't have seen it. I wouldn't have let her see it. She watched it on a sleepover, but I probably wouldn't have let her see it because there's too much stabbings.
Too much of that stabbings.
Yeah.
My last meh is The Day Shall Come.
The Day
Did
Shall
you see
Come. What is that about, Ian?
It's here's the official synopsis. The official synopsis. An impoverished preacher who brings hope to the Miami projects is offered cash to save his family from eviction. He has no idea his sponsor works for the FBI, who plan to turn him into a criminal by fueling his madcap revolutionary ideas. It's the latest film from director Chris Morris. Basically,
I know.
It's the Four Lions follow-up.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, it's not. I mean, I was never an enormous fan of Four Lions as much as maybe I was Brass Eye and The Day to Day. But Four Lions was funny. I just think in a more mainstream way and a more movie way than Brass Eye was. So It's kind of finessed and turned into something that can be quickly sort of put into film form. So Four Lions, you can see, was a good film, whereas with this, I was struggling quite a lot to find, put it this way, imagine the scene. In the cinema, you've got almost complete silence.
Apart from your rustling of revels.
No, apart from one audience member on the far left side of the screening room, where he's on my row and he's laughing at everything that he gets.
Important distinction.
Not funny things, just making sure that everybody else in the room is aware that he gets why it is that way in the film. Meanwhile, everyone else is silent. So, the gags didn't land, and I know that it's not sort of Benny Hill level comedy in Brass Eye or Four Lions. But
I like how Benny Hill is your
comedy reference point.
Comedy reference for something that would make an audience absolutely crack up.
Piss themselves.
Can you imagine if a Benny Hill thing?
Crowd pleaser.
Yeah, crowd pleaser. Okay, Bruno. Carry on.
I think I've said enough now. Anyway, it was I think it was struggling a little bit with trying to prove the point about how the FBI have done this in real life with a ludicrous setup that is insane, that things like this, not exactly like this, but that the FBI have set up such madcap scenarios in order to prove that people who are not terrorists are terrorists in order to keep quotas up. But it felt like there was too much of that and not enough of what you expect from a Chris Morris film. There was no scathing sarcasm, irony, humour. It was just what it was. So,
well, I'm just glad that outside of the Fast and the Furious series, that Ludacris can find a career in Hollywood.
Next.
Okay, on. So we're on in the no zone.
No.
And I've got a couple. I'm just going to go through one that I just thought it was it was bad. It was really bad. It was It 2. It Part 2. It was bad. Iain, I nearly walked out. And it's 169 minutes. It's the longest horror film given a wide theatrical release. And it was just tedious, and there was no joy to be had. And you can go back
Ludicrous.
You can go back and listen to a previous episode of the podcast where I'd seen It Part 1, and I was raving about it. I was like, this is great.
In your words, you were gushing.
I was gushing. I just absolutely hated it. I thought it's one of the worst films I've seen in a long time. It felt like a TV movie. And it was just, if you've seen it, it's the most tedious pacing you can imagine. It's basically like the kids have to get together. So instead of like one scene of getting the adults back together, instead of like one scene, they have 6 separate scenes of the kids all getting their own scene, getting a phone call, showing a bit of their life, and that goes on 6 times, and each one is, long. It's not a short scene. And then they all get back together and have a scene together, and they've got this mission to do. They've all got to go and get like an object or something like that from their childhood. So then individually, they all go back and scene by scene, so it's not even interwoven, it's just one scene ends, the next character's scene begins. They go back to a childhood place, spooky event happens, they flash back to the childhood trauma, another monster thing happens, they get the object, and then it moves on to the exact same sequence of events but with the next character. And that happens.
I'm bored just listening to your description of it.
I know, but it's the way that it does it, and like how, just Iain, I was so bored.
Me too. I haven't actually seen it.
This movie could have used some serious trimming in the editing room.
Get the hairdressers in. This movie needs a trim.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was that. And what's your no? What's your big no?
I'm looking through my list, and I actually don't really have a list of no's. I had a couple of mehs, but instead I've got a very sort of short list of things that I've watched recently on streams that are sort of good ones that I've watched in recent weeks or this year. So I could.
So all this build up to the the big negative section that people are really, they've paid their ticket price for, and you've got nothing.
I'm always defying expectations. People think I'm going to be the negative Nancy. I'm just here with things that people can immediately go and stream if they haven't already.
Okay.
Do you want to do a final no from you? Do you have any more?
It was Godzilla's King of Monsters. I mean, he didn't make it, but it was Godzilla King of Monsters
Auteur filmmaker Godzilla is back with King of Monsters.
Official synopsis: recreations of. I don't think this is the official synopsis. It's something though. Recreations of God. I think this is more likely the violence. So there's some scary recreations of Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah that may scare some. Also expected destruction and peril, and a devastating but unexplicit body count from the
Body
monsters.
count in the house.
Body counts in the house. There was some swearing to sort of keep the dads in the room happy. There were 2 utterances of the expletive fuck. Some uses of swear words such as shit, hell, bitch, damn, and ass, which I seem to remember as look at the ass on that dragon. A chunk of which is said by a teen. And a young teen flips off the human villain. And I seem to remember like the director being like, hey man, people are going to lose their freaking minds with the ending of this film. And it was just bad. And like, I remember you saying it just looks like 11 sort of having the mad mind one, screaming and having a nosebleed. And Ian, I hate to say it, but you were right. That was, I was really drained by this film.
You were like 11 after a big scream.
After a big mind one. After a heavy mind session. I was really drained by this film. It was really bad. Don't watch it. Some good special effects though, but pretty bad.
Okay,
Ian, give me a list of good things you can stream right now. It might cheer me up.
I wish I could stream right now. We talked about Godzilla and monster movies in our archives. People should go and check those out just before I give those updates.
Don't watch.
Am I right?
Yeah, you're right.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
I'm putting myself back in the situation where I was watching Godzilla in it too, and I'm just not in a good place.
Okay, well, our recommendation instead of that then is go back in our archives and listen to episode 77, Giant Monster Movies. It's a good one. For me, very quickly, some good streams. I watched The Great Hack, which came out this year.
I've seen that, yeah, it was good. So it was an enthralling and eye-opening watch.
It's just, this is not an official synopsis, but it describes it. The Great Hack is a 2019 documentary film.
The official description.
About the Facebook Cambridge Analytica data scandal, produced and directed by Jehan Nojaim and Karim Amer. It was released on Netflix on July 24th. It's really good. It follows a couple of different people who were kind of embroiled in the whole scandal. It follows somebody called Brittany Kaiser, who was involved at Cambridge Analytica, and by the looks of it is kind of on the run throughout most of the film. There's a lot about like whether she feels like she's acted ethically or not. It also follows an investigative journalist at The Guardian called Carol Cadwalder.
Yeah.
She is kind of the center point of it, and then does some TED Talks about what the data sharing problem and losing your data is the next big human rights crisis. And it's just eye-opening, some of the stuff about the meddling that was done very simply by outside forces to stir up like problems in Western nations. So I think the example that was most extreme to me was people from other countries creating fake pages that were kind of aligned with the Black Lives Matter movement. And then they would create these like rallies, but then the same people would then also be creating like sort of alternate demonstrations against the rallies, just to create sort of flashpoints in one place. So yeah, crazy stuff. I would recommend it. It's on Netflix.
Yep, recommended. Agreed.
Recommended. I think most of the other things that I've got on my watch list here are things that came out late 2018 but have only become available on streams
Well,
recently.
quickly, we've run out of time, so you're going to have to quickly zip through the list.
American Animals. Did you see it?
No,
Do you know about it?
no.
Okay, the official synopsis. Just give me 1 second.
A bunch of animals that live in America.
And that'll do. No, so it's the official synopsis. 4 young men mistake their lives for a movie and attempt one of the most audacious heists in US history. It's really cool because they've got a dramatization part, but then they also have the real life people who were convicted of the crime doing parts in it, and then at the very end it kind of shows you what's become of them. It's quite a nice blend of like sort of documentary and movie.
Nice.
And yeah, I think I'll leave it there.
Are you looking forward to anything that's coming out, in the near future?
The Irishman apparently came out on the 8th of November, but the reviews are only really coming out now by the looks of it. So
Okay.
I'm keen to see that. I've heard it's great. I saw 5-star, 5-star, 5-star.
Are you going to watch it in one sitting, or are you going to split it up into 2 or 3?
The Irishman?
Yeah, it's like about 3 hours long.
I mean, I'm going to go to the cinema. I'm going to grin and bear it.
Okay.
What about you? Have you seen it and are you keen?
I'm very keen, but I'm probably going to split it up into at least one 90-minute chunk and then see how it goes after that.
Okay. Are you going to leave after that 90 minutes?
Well, we'll watch it on Netflix.
Oh, I didn't realise it was on Netflix. What?
Yeah, it's a Netflix movie, all right.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I wanted to go see it in the cinema.
Yeah, it's on Netflix this weekend, I believe. This weekend being probably way after this is released, so it's probably out now.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I will look at settings then. And then finally, the next in the Star Wars franchise, the final of the 3rd trilogy. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm keen to see it. You know me, I liked The Last Jedi, much to your annoyance. I'm hoping that it goes out with a decent wrap up to it all. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to go and see it on the biggest screen possible. I'm excited.
I too am excited. I think this one could be a really good one.
Do you know which one? Do you know what I'm excited about? The Lighthouse.
Explain. Talk more.
Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe are two lighthouse
Jesus!
keepers.
I thought you were talking about a lighthouse in Star Wars.
No, because I think, you know what? Like, look, yeah, I haven't got anything to say about Star Wars. I'm excited about it. I'll go and see it. You'll get my opinion on it. I think it looks good. The trailers have been okay.
I think the trailers make it seem very epic. I think the score helps it sound like it's coming to an end, an epic ending.
Yeah.
I think the score included on the trailers has been very good.
It's nice that they've included the score with the trailers.
Correct.
But yeah, no,
Move on.
I'm
Tell me
really
about
looking
the
forward to
Lighthouse.
the Lighthouse. Yeah, I think if there's one that I'm looking forward to the most, that's coming out within the next few weeks, it would be that one. I absolutely can't wait to see that movie. I think it's going to be a real good one.
Explain to those who may not know what the Lighthouse is, what it's all about.
This is a Robert Eggers film, and he did
who's that?
The Witch. Well, he did The Witch with Finchy from The Office, and it's a black and white movie. I think it looks like it's shot in maybe 4:3 ratio. It's black and white. It looks quite Nosferatu-y in its cinematography, and it's basically about two lighthouse keepers that go kind of stir crazy in a lighthouse. And then maybe.
Do you want the official synopsis? The official synopsis. Two lighthouse keepers try to maintain their sanity while living on a remote and mysterious New England island in the 1890s.
I think that's pretty much what I said, bar the year. And I think it's just about two guys going, getting cabin fever together. And it just looks really good. I've watched the trailer a number of times. I really like the advertising campaign for it. I think Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson both look like they're putting in career bests.
Wow.
I'm keen as mustard.
That's a PB.
They're both putting in PBs. Yeah, I'm keen as mustard.
Okay,
How
talking
about
about two guys who are going stir crazy with one another. Shall we end this podcast?
We can end it, but I've just got a quick quiz for you. The quick fire. It's the quick fire round. It'll be over in about 30 seconds.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you the first name, and you're going to give me the surname.
Okay.
You know this quiz
I'm ready.
by now.
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. Robert.
Pattinson.
Correct. Julia.
I was going to say Caesar.
Julia.
Louis Dreyfus.
Roberts.
Oh.
Robert.
Redford.
De Niro. Billy.
Piper.
Crudup. Robert.
Pattinson.
You've already had him.
I know, but you've had fucking Robert 3 times.
I know lots of Roberts. Robert.
Mortimer.
Duval. Billy.
Piper.
Crystal. Pamela.
Anderson.
Correct. Robert.
Pattinson.
Downey Jr. Henry.
Hoover.
Cavill. Robert.
Redford.
England.
Ah,
You got two. You got 2 out of 10 there.
Close. It was close on that last one.
You got 2 out of 10 there. How were you close on the last one?
Well, I mean, I named a Robert.
Yeah, true. You were 50% of the way there. Do you want to wrap it up?
Yeah. Thanks. That's it. No, if you'd like to get in touch with us, go to facebook.com/guysonfilm. If you don't use Facebook, then you can look us up at GOF Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. And you can email us at guysonfilmpodcast@gmail.com.
And that's all correct. Well recited.
This will be the last one this year.
Maybe.
So
We might do it. We
see
might
you in
slip another one
2020.
in. Mandy said
you're
that's what she said.
Oh, your special move. Okay.
Okay. Alright, bye.
Maybe bye for 2019.
Let's slip another one in.
Bye, Mandy.
Bye.
Oh shit, I've not been recording.
Oh, what?